Great. Thank you so much, Mayor Johnson, for joining me for this podcast to talk about professional wellness.
Thank you. Appreciate being here.
Yes. So, how are you? You are in the midst of a campaign, and how are you just starting off with that?
I'm tired. Physically and emotionally drained. It's been a grueling, not only 4 years, but then in the last year, and particularly over the last 10 months in the heat of a campaign and while you're governing at the same time, playing offense and defense.
Okay.
It's very challenging. So,
Mhm.
we're within days of this coming to an end. And so I'm excited about that.
Okay. And I want to make sure I properly introduce you. You are the 67th mayor of the city of Savannah, Georgia,
Right.
which is in Chatham County. I'm actually was born in Savannah at Candler Hospital, grew up in Effingham County. And purpose, passion, and people are the core principles that guide and drive the life of the Honorable Mayor Van Johnson II.
Yes, ma'am.
So, and I know that you assumed office was it in 2020?
Well, mayor 2020, and then I've been on council for 16 years before that. So I assumed office initially in 2004.
Okay. So this, really started this podcast about professional wellness after working on a campaign and understanding the how important practicing wellness is when you are working nonstop. So,
Mhm.
what was that like for you, um, being mayor of a major city in the midst of a pandemic?
Um, well, it was challenging. I'm a human resources professional by trade. So, um, so I've had years of experience in dealing with that and dealing with taking care of employees, helping them take care of themselves. And in this case, just now, a large constituency of people um, in the midst of circumstances that we had no playbook for,
Mm.
um, be it loss of death, extended sickness, then also separation from people, separation from your place of business, separation from your house of worship, which created a whole nother set of circumstances for us individually, and then for us as a community. During that time, I had my own health scare that persisted through some of that as well. So it was a very challenging time, a very difficult time for a lot of people. Although we might have survived it, I think we're still forever changed because of
Exactly. And I know that you were born and raised in New York, and
it.
just seeing what was going on in New York, and you're in Savannah. How did you practice wellness overall that then helped you continue to lead as a mayor during that time?
Well, throughout my elected career, it's always been very, very important to me to um, maintain connections to those things that are important to me. So faith, family, friends, and fun have always been very important to me. So I stay committed and connected to my faith, which is extremely important to me. I am a church musician. And so
Okay.
throughout the pandemic, we still held worship services, albeit virtually. But I was going to church every Sunday and I was still playing.
Hmm.
Um, although nobody was in the church, but it was
Yeah.
still a sense of connection and resource for me. Certainly stayed connected to my family through various video means and phones, and stay connected with friends, particularly in small groups where we could, and still try to find the best side of everything. For me, faith was not knowing when we would get through it, but knowing that we would get through it. And so
Hmm.
that mantra, as Martin Luther King says, was that faith was taking the first step without seeing the whole staircase. In that we were going to keep the faith, follow the science. And I think that was really what helped ground us, that we would get through this.
Yes. And I've heard other people share that music has been so helpful for them with practicing wellness. So you mentioned that you play the piano. Do you play any other instruments?
Or piano, organ, and things of that variety. So for this particular church, I'm the church organist. So
Oh, the church organist. Okay. Wow.
it's something I've done for years. It's something that I enjoy doing. It's a sense of relief. It's a sense of creativity. It's not the mayor. It's a sense of worship. It's a sense of giving. It's a sense of expression. And so you're able to do those things. And it kind of unleashes another side of you, another side of your brain, endorphins, so to speak. Makes you come happy, makes you comforts you. And so that works for me.
That's nice. Really nice. I grew up playing clarinet, so I enjoyed it. I no longer play it, but that is nice. So what have you noticed is the difference for you with or is there a difference campaigning now versus when you were campaigning, I guess 16 years ago, and definitely from maybe 2018, 2019 for your first term as mayor?
Oh, it's definitely different. Again, it's one thing when you're the hunter and then you're the hunted. So obviously in 2003, I was not elected. I was running against an incumbent. In 2019, I was running against an incumbent. So it's an offense. When you are the incumbent, like I was in 2007, like I am now, you have to also play defense. You're also in office, so you're also governing at the same time. For me lately, um, campaigning and governing has gotten a lot more nasty. Not only on the national scene, and we've seen what's happened in Congress and in state races and the presidential races, but also in local government. You see people being increasingly more nasty, increasingly more insulting, increasingly more personal in their attacks. Um, you see now social media warriors who just feel like they can say whatever they want to say to you. They can attack you. They can say things that are unbiased or things that are unfair, even things that are untrue. They can call you names. And, unfortunately, some courts have held that, people can just say what they want to you, and that's free speech and it's protected. However, if you say something to them, then it becomes something different. So it's like fighting with one hand behind your back. And so you certainly use and learn some coping mechanisms. I'll clap back pretty quickly.
Mhm.
I'm from Brooklyn, and that's a part of me. And so I
Okay.
don't necessarily take shorts from people. I'm not going to let people talk to me any old kind of way. And so you stand up to bullies, and then bullies either back down or they just find somewhere else to bully when they see you're not going to be bullied.
And that's what you're talking about with that online bullying and the negative comments. That's why I was speaking with having a wellness session with a good friend who's a county commissioner in Augusta, and he shared the same thing, that sometimes people forget that even though you're an elected official, you are still a human being, and but there's this acceptance to just
and
go
sub and
on.
sub and subject to human things. I've invited many people to my house and say, well, if you forget all this, you got that saved to my face. Say to my face,
Mm,
or I'm here at 2 East Bay Street. Here I am. Come say that to me. Um,
hmm.
at some point, even though you're an elected official, you're also a man or a woman, and you're just not going to let people say those things,
Exactly.
to you. It's unfortunate because um, elected service, particularly on the local level, is a very thankless job. It requires a lot of hours. It's often part-time. And people want to give service. They want to try. And so to have people sitting in the back seat, basically, criticizing every move you make, questioning your integrity, questioning your willingness to work, it's kind of disingenuous. I mean, I may not agree with the decisions you make. I may not just agree with how you make those decisions. But it's never, to me, any reason to become personally offending or personally degrading towards someone. I think that just crosses the line. And in some cases, I've seen where people have gone after the family members of people, which I think is just totally across the line.
Exactly. My father was actually the first and unfortunately only Black county commissioner in Effingham County. And I experienced that as a child,
Mhm.
having individuals who didn't agree with him politically, and they approached me as a child. And these were adults. And, that was definitely crossing the line. So have you learned anything over your time as an elected official um, that has helped you with those personal attacks?
Um, yeah, sticks and stones may break my bones, but your words never hurt me. Your opinion of me is none of my business.
Hmm.
It's not the name you call me; it's the name I answer to.
Hmm.
Uh, and certainly, um, you know, that wolves don't necessarily care about the opinions of sheep,
Mm.
and eagles don't necessarily care about the opinions of pigeons. If I don't wallow in dirt with you, then you're wallowing by yourself. And it takes two to fight, and you don't have to come to every fight that you're invited to. And so, for me, um, it's been a learning practice. It's something you get to practice and evolve. And so there have been many fiery emails, many crazy posts that I would have made, but I allowed myself to, sleep on it, wait before I did it. And then, cooler heads prevail. My faith tells me that we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities. And so, therefore, it's not the folk, it's the devil within the folk. So it allows me sometimes to have grace on the people and just recognize that, you know, they're being inhabited by some ornery spirit. And,
Exactly.
you know, I won't take it
Yeah.
out on them.
Yeah. Well, what are some of the best things that you have experienced since becoming mayor of the great Savannah, Georgia?
Um, Kids. I think it has to be kids. Kids that for them I am the first celebrity, someone they see on TV that they actually see in
Mhm.
person. And they recognize you and they're pointing at you and they want to hug you and they want to. And so I have this kind of unique opportunity to be able to say, you're really a handsome young man, or you're really a pretty young lady, or you're really smart, and you see
Mhm.
their eyes really light up. And so words matter, affirmations matter. And so if I'm telling a young person that they're smart, even if they're not being smart that day, um, they become smart. And so you speak words over people. I realize that, obviously my position and my words have meaning and have power. And so I've been able to use that. So that's been a highlight. Another highlight is, being able to travel not only across the state and the nation, but across the world. Again, highlighting Savannah, telling the story of Savannah
Mhm.
for purpose of economics, tourism, trade, and educational opportunities between countries. So it's been cool.
Nice. That's great. And I know your love for children. I see that you are the director of the Chatham County Youth Commission. And I mean, your love for children has continued. And I think that was, I mean, for you sharing, you understand the impact that you have on children and how your words are positively impacting them. And I think that is one of the best things that elected officials or people who are in a position where they are seen so widely to understand that your words matter and they have an impact. And I think that's great for the community of Savannah.
Well, that's why you can't act crazy, because you have to realize, before I cuss you out, I have to realize that young people are watching me.
Hmm.
And so that serves as a third rail for me, because I also realize that social media doesn't go away, video and digital stuff doesn't go away. And so, will I say something or do something that will make someone ashamed? of me or affiliating with me. So I have to make sure, even when I'm being treated unfairly or unethically, how is my response to that? Because it's hard to talk about people turning the other cheek or doing those things if you're not doing it yourself. So I don't always make that mark, but I certainly try.
Okay. Well, is there anything that you would share to others? Any other tips that you would share to someone who is either currently running for office or planning to run in the future or currently in office on practicing wellness and how that can impact you as a professional?
Well, I think self-care is not selfish. Um, and I think that at the end of the day, you have to, again, find ways to anchor yourself to things that help you maintain who you are. So for me, going home and spending time with my parents is very important to me, because I might be the mayor of the greatest city on earth. When I'm home, I'm Lil Van and take the trash out. It's extremely humbling to me. Making sure that my circle remains tight, making sure that I am maintaining connections with people who loved and cared about me before I became mayor. And there are people who like to be my friend now, but they weren't. When I was struggling in these
Yes.
streets, everybody wasn't with me.
Hmm.
And recognizing that time is of a continuum. I mean, people come into your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. And so you have to be able to know that, sometimes people have to get off of your train, and sometimes people are not meant for your next level. And so I've, gotten a lot better at saying, if you want to get off and this is your stop, then this is your stop. Go ahead and get, and it's okay. It's
Hmm.
okay. But I think that the universe provides what it needs. Things happen in its time, and there's a time and place. I would want people to thoroughly research what you are getting into. We have candidates that run for a particular reason, a particular thing they're concerned about. It might be homelessness, or it might be business licenses, or it might be housing. But we do 99 other things. And
Mm.
so if you're a one issue candidate, the fact is you have 99 other things you have to be concerned about. Make sure that your family and your loved ones are in tune with your decision, because what you do also impacts them.
Mhm.
There are a lot of times where I would rather be somewhere else, but my duty calls, and so I have to make sure to address that duty. And again, it's not always a very easy balance, but it's something we try to make happen.
Yeah, those are great. Those are great words of advice, knowledge. You're just spitting the knowledge. And that's so key, especially when you said that if you're running as a one issue candidate, that's not the only issue for your position. You have to
Yeah.
deal with a ton of things.
It is, and it is very difficult. Um, People will expect you to fix everything that's wrong in their lives, because we are, particularly in local government, the closest to the people. They call you about everything. They can't reach the president. They can't reach the senators or the representatives. They can't reach the governor or the senators or representatives, but they can reach you.
Yes.
And so in Walmart or in church or in the streets or at a stop sign or at a concert or at an event, they want you to know their views on every single thing, even if you don't have anything to do about it.
Hmm.
I can't save people from themselves. I came to be a servant, not a savior.
Mm.
And so,
Wow.
but I recognize that life gets a whole lot better when you realize what your limitations are.
Mhm.
I can't get anybody's kid out of jail. I can't stop people from shooting each other. I can't, stop somebody from raising somebody's rent. I can't do those things.
Mhm.
I have to know what my limitations are. I have to work within those limitations. And certainly where I can help, where I can be a blessing, where I can use my voice, then certainly be willing to do that.
Yes. Wow. That's great. think that that statement you made is so powerful. I am a servant, not a savior. Yeah. Well, and I hope
Because
you, I'm sorry, go ahead.
it burns out a lot of elected officials
Mhm.
because they get involved, and I mean every issue becomes their issue and their fight, and it's not their fight.
Mhm.
And they, and so they're trying, and then it's beyond their realm of jurisdiction, their realm of ability, sometimes beyond the legal limits. And then the people they were trying to help blame them for not getting the result. And I've seen it happen so many times. It certainly happened to me. You have to know what your lane is. You have to know what your limitations are. And when you know that, it makes life a whole lot easier for you, because people will burn you out. They will burn you out. And then they'll turn around and say you never did nothing for them anyway. Or they'll burn you out, and ashes to ashes, dust to dust, and they'll go eat chicken after your funeral and elect somebody else to take your space the next day.
Yes.
You have to save something for yourself.
Yes, that is so true, because unfortunately, I don't know if it's unfortunate or fortunate, we're all replaceable. And so when you are giving your complete all and you're burning yourself out, when it's okay, it can be on to the next. And so you have to make sure that you are practicing self-care. You have to make sure that you're reminding yourself of your limits. And,
Yeah, what
and
sense
that's,
does it, you out here helping somebody else's marriage and your marriage is falling apart, or you out here trying to save somebody else's kids and your kids are all over the place. Or and you're missing precious time and precious moments and precious memories. You're missing all of those things. You're helping someone else's health, and your health is bad. So I think that you have to be your best advocate on airplanes. And I'm often on. They tell you to put the mask on yourself first before you help
exactly.
someone else, because you can't help anybody else if you don't help yourself.
Yeah, boundaries, and making sure that you're practicing wellness, because if not, like you said, you can burn out. I know as a mental health therapist, I have to make sure that I'm in a good place to be able to help others, and I can't take on everything. I've got to have those boundaries, or I'm not going to be of use to anybody.
Right.
Yeah. Wow. Well, I hope you get some rest. I hope you get some rest after the election on next Tuesday, November the 7th.
Right. I mean, I've committed that, we're running almost 24 hours a day now for the next 8 days, until this is over. I mean, we're mission focused, and we have to be focused. And then when it's over, then, I'll unplug somewhere and go hibernate somewhere for a while and get ready to do it all over again.
Exactly. I mean, I know that the weather in the South, especially in Savannah, I've been in Savannah for Christmas and we've been burning up. So I know that the weather can fluctuate, but I hope that you're able to be somewhere warm and just get some much needed rest.
I promise you I will.
Okay, now I have to remind all of my Savannah folks to go out and vote on Tuesday, November the 7th.
They can vote now. They can vote early, vote now. They can
Yes,
vote
early
throughout the week.
voting.
So yeah, you can vote
Okay. And when's the last day to early vote?
Friday.
Okay. Okay. All right. I have to just check in with my family members, my auntie, everyone who lives in Savannah, and
That's
let
right.
them know.
That's
Go
right.
early vote, because you never know what can happen next Tuesday, between Friday and
In
Tuesday.
Savannah, you can turn around and have a hurricane. That's kind of how we do.
Oh, I know. I've had my family to evacuate Savannah to come stay with me when I was in Augusta for a while because of hurricanes. So yeah. Well, thank you so much again for
Thank you.
taking time to have this conversation, and much luck on next Tuesday.
Thank you. I appreciate it and appreciate your time.
Yes.